Hi, Claudia here from Create with Claudia, and today I'm going to show you something fun to do that's near and dear to my heart. Sorry, my chair is sliding across the floor. I am making a Christmas ornament, or any kind of ornament, out of men's shirts, or the remainder of a men's shirt. These are wool fabric. These are actually from my father who passed away recently. I've been making a few things from some of his clothing and accessories. You might remember my last video was a handkerchief quilt I made out of all of his handkerchiefs, but I also wanted to make something out of his shirts, so I made this fun pillow, which I really love. I made one for my mom too, and these were out of his wool shirts. He loved plaid wool shirts. So there's the pillow I made, but I had a lot of fabric left over, as you can imagine. It's like an 18-inch pillow, so it had a lot of fabric left over. So I decided to make these really quick and easy ornaments for all of the grandkids. I wanted them to have something special. We did not have a lot of his shirts left, so this uses up a lot of that fabric in a nice special way. And I'm making some for me and my brother and my mom too. So let's get started. They couldn't be easier. They take maybe tops like 10 minutes. So the first thing you're going to need is fabric. Now this is the sleeve off of one of his shirts, and you're going to need the both layers like so. You have the front and the back, and then of course the wrong sides is on the inside. And you want to keep those two layers like that because you're just going to cut out both layers at the same time with your template. And you're going to get a template, a circle template of some kind. I used this is part of a yo-yo maker. It's 3.5 inches in diameter. You can use bigger, smaller. You can use plates, cups, whatever you want, just a nice circle shape. And you're gonna use that as your template. But before I trace around that, I'm gonna pin the two layers together. That helps with shifting, and you wanna have them, because you just wanna, but basically what you're gonna do is you're gonna trace it, cut it out, and take it straight to your machine to sew. All right, and you're gonna need pinking shears to get that nice sort of ragged edge, I guess, yeah, ragged or pinking shear edge. I can't think of the term of that right now. And now, if you don't have pinking shears, that's fine. You can use regular scissors. However, this does help a little bit with fraying, the pinking shears. You need some ribbon for the hanger, and then you're gonna need some fiber fill as well. All right, so let's trace around this. With the pin in both of the layers, I take my pen, which I cannot, oh, it's under here. All right, and you're just gonna trace around it. You don't wanna trace too thick because you might see it when you're cutting out. On the other hand, you don't wanna make it too pale either. You might wanna use a removable, like a water-soluble pen. It's up to you. For this video, it's easy to see this pen. So there you can sort of see that purple outline. I would not normally use a pen like that because it'll stain it and you'll be able to see it. Don't take the pin out yet, and now we're going to cut out the circle. And the nice thing is, out of a shirt that made a pillow, you can make a whole bunch of these ornaments. So if your father, if there are a lot of grandkids, you can make a lot of ornaments out of this. And just cut across. I think I need new pinking shears. These are really stiff and hard to use. Okay. So there's your shape. Save the rest for later. And you can see the pin is still in there, and now I'm ready to sew. And I'm going to sew around the entire diameter of the circle, but I am going to leave about 1/4 of it open so that I can stuff the ornament. So we'll go over here and do that at the machine. I sew in about 1/4 inch. Now today I'm using white thread. I would not normally use white thread with this because you can really see it brightly. I use a coordinating color. In this case, I used black for this ornament, and I used black for that, and there you can barely see the thread. You don't want that to be the focal point, especially because the back side, you'll see a little bit of the stitching a little bit more. So let's get started. Begin and end with a back stitch. Just one. This is not, you're not going to use this ornament rough and tumble or anything like that. And because it's a circle, I'm going to go ahead and take the needle out there. And you might have to move your presser foot and adjust it around a little bit. Just keep going around. Let's see, a little bit further to go. Almost done. There we go. All right. So you want to trim off all of those threads as closely as you can. And you can clean it up later some more. Okay, it's hard to see those. All right, so there you go. Now you're ready to stuff it with the fiberfill. You do not need a lot of fiberfill. It's totally up to you how much you want to put in or how little you want to put in. I like sort of a flatter ornament. You could put a lot more in and make it more like a ball shape. It's, again, totally your preference. So you take small bits at a time, maybe about, like a little bit in your palm, about an inch or so. And you're just going to feed that into that opening. You could also use a decorative stitch if you wanted around the outside. That would be pretty if you have a fancy machine. I do not, so I like just a simple straight stitch. I think the highlight here is that pretty fabric. I just always remember my dad wearing plaid shirts, and he was never without one. So to me, that's what's special about this. All right, so you have enough in there. I think that's plenty. That's a nice little. I'm going to get in all the edges, make sure there's a little bit out there, and then it's time to add the hanger. And this is just a simple fabric ribbon. I guess this is about 6 inches. It's up to you how long you want it to drop, if you don't want it to drop very long. I like a longer dropping ornament. Let's see, I might trim that just a little bit. You don't want too much ribbon in there. And you're going to crisscross the ends like that. And you're going to feed them into the inside on the back side. And then you're going to take your pin, and this just helps stabilize it while you're sewing. And pin through that just until you've sewn over it. Okay. And then make sure to fluff that. And then you're just going to finish sewing around there. So let's take it over the machine. I will say if you use a whole lot of fluff, it's a lot harder to sew closed. Start where you ended. There we go. Watch the needle when you're sewing over it, of course. And just sew right to that end where it started. Quick back stitch. Take out that. Now, like I said, you can see the back stitching there. You do not see that when you use thread that's gonna that blends. So I highly recommend doing that. And again, any color ribbon you want, and that is it. I mean, that took all of like 5 minutes. The one thing I would add to this, and unfortunately I'm not an embroiderer and I don't have a machine that does that. If you know somebody that does embroidery and would be willing to do this for you, you could maybe put on their dad or grandpa or pap. Again, these are all going to the grandkids, so I'd probably put grandpa and then perhaps the dates of his life, or you could put a pretty phrase in there, or maybe even a picture of something if you knew somebody that did some fancy embroidery. I think that would make this extra special, but again, I don't know anybody that does embroidery, and I don't do it. So I think, but these are just so pretty and very simple, and I think they'd be pretty for anybody. So I hope you get a chance to make these. They really are a nice keepsake, and I will always put one on my tree, and I hope the kids do too. So I appreciate you watching. Thanks so much, and have a great day.